Light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Here we go! From the Nashville Sports Radio Media Complex, this is the George Plaster Show. Call George now at 615-844-5600 and online at WNSR.com. And now, George Plaster.
Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown, Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Kelly Holcomb, along with Young Gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a beautiful Tuesday. It's also hot, but it should be as we approach the Memorial Day weekend. We welcome all of you into the show, day two of what is kind of our new format, where we take our podcast and simulcast it on 95.9 on the FM dial. And for those of you in the Smyrna, Murfreesboro, Rutherford County area, you can hear us on 107.9. Before I bring Kelly Holcomb into our microphones, promised you late last week that we would have updates from the SEC baseball tournament down at the Hoover Met, suburb of Birmingham. And with that in mind, we say hello to Nashvilleian and University of Missouri student Billy Jones. Billy, I hear there's been an upset already.
Yeah, LSU clearly pretty intent on leaving, no doubt, as far as their status for the for the NCAA tournament. Next week hammers South Carolina, hammers Georgia in the opener 9-1.
Yes, so obviously the young man Condon, who led the SEC by a mile in homers, was pretty quiet today. Was that the key to it?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, LSU brings in their ace, Gage Jump, who threw 88 pitches on Thursday. And, Jay Johnson starts him today. I think the thought process in that dugout is, man, if you can give us 3 or 4 solid innings, put us in a solid spot, that'd be great. I think he shocks everybody, went over 90 pitches, 7 innings, 1 earned run, put them in a really good spot today, quieted a Georgia offense that's been hitting the ball on everyone. Condon didn't get going, but neither did the rest of that lineup. And, that should give Vandy fans some hope today, because Tim Corbin's going with a similar approach as, Bryce Cunningham, who started Thursday, is going to go again tonight against Florida. So maybe an encouraging sign for Vanderbilt. But, boy, LSU led from the mound today, and Gage Jump with a really impressive performance, especially coming off, pitching what was an incredible outing against Ole Miss just last Thursday.
What does this do to Georgia? Does it really affect their NCAA tournament seeding to any great extent?
I don't think so. I mean, there was some talk they could maybe get into, a national seed, lock that up if they could have a really big week this week. I think they're still right there on that border. I think they may just be out of that conversation, but they'll certainly be hosting some games down there in Athens next week. Like I said, there's always a chance to win a trophy, right? And, really bolster that resume to maybe solidify it. But I still think the jury's already made its decision on Georgia as far as if they're going to be in that top 8 or not.
Tell us what's going on with South Carolina and Bama.
Yeah, boy, South Carolina got the bats going today. Messina, Tippett, LaCroix, Petrie, and the rest of them have been hammering Alabama today. 3 home runs, a couple doubles. They lead 10-5 at the top of the 9th, just trying to put the finishing touches on what is a big win. And, of course, there's a couple seed lines that separate South Carolina and Alabama, but they were part of that five-team logjam in the 7 through 11 spot. So I think certainly South Carolina and Alabama still relatively safe, but Now a chance for South Carolina maybe to make a little noise, but I think a pretty disappointing revelation for Alabama, who had a real rough finish to the year, lost some series down the stretch, and then went on the road to an Auburn ball club that's won 5 SEC games all year prior to Bama making their way out there and lost that series. So they're a club that, is going to be there come next weekend, but a team that's really reeling.
Billy, we'll check back in with you right after 5 o'clock for another update. Thank you very much.
Sounds great, George.
Billy Jones reporting from the SEC baseball tournament down in Hoover, Alabama. Now, let's get this show on the road. Let's start by saying hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
I'm great, George. How you doing?
Good. We aim to please on this show. Updates,
I know, I
information.
see. Hey, Billy's upset because he didn't get to go this year. Last year he went down. You remember that? He was at was he not at Hoover? Oh no, I'm sure you're not. No, I'm not worried either. I'm glad you kept him here.
Billy, is that true?
Yeah, that's one of my last Hoover vacations, I will say. But it is weird being back here and not being in Hoover. But it's whatever,
Is it perhaps that Vandy isn't playing as well?
No, it's just that it's the
It's
group
got something to do with it, George.
The group I usually go with is not going this year. So
Yeah, okay, Billy. Right.
Kelly, I think I've hit on something.
You did.
I think it's called striking a nerve.
That's right.
Do we have an update of any, substance whatsoever?
we've got some meat on the bone today.
Do we really?
Yeah, it's brought to you by
Very exciting.
Lori Burnett Leland. You can visit her online at mortgageladyyusa.com. We're kicking today off with some Preds news. They are trading Ryan McDonough back to Tampa Bay. This move clears nearly $7 million in cap room for the next 2 seasons. McDonough has been wanting to go home, return home to Tampa. A lot of people saying it was a smart move by Barry Trotz, and with $26 million in cap, there's likely more moves coming for the Preds. And actually today, right here behind us at the Fordyce Center, Barry Trotz spoke to the media and said that Ryan McDonough asked at exit meetings for the team to consider trading him this summer. So this was not a get out of here, McDonough. This was, okay, we're going to do right by McDonough to send him back home. So it was more about that request than clearing cap room, even though they were able to clear cap room.
He really helped this team. His leadership, I think, was invaluable. I think he taught this team how to start playing hard every night, how to believe in themselves. Yeah, he may have only been here 2 years, but I think that his contributions are enormous.
Yeah, the Preds send McDonough and a 4th-round pick this year to Tampa Bay, and the Preds get a 2024 7th-round pick and a 2025 2nd-round pick. So the first trade of the offseason for the Preds is Ryan McDonough to Tampa Bay. Also, big news in college football, Jaden Rashada has decided to sue Billy Napier and a Florida booster over his NIL deal.
This is the guy that was supposed to get $13 million?
Yep.
Wow.
He was promised a $13.8 million agreement after he turned down other programs. And today's lawsuit states that Rashada signed his NLI, National Letter of Intent, to Florida back on December 21st of 2022, an hour after Napier promised Rashada's father a $1 million partial payment. Rashada never received the money, and the boosters never fulfilled the deal. And Rashada's the first athlete to sue his coach or a booster due to an NIL dispute.
Kelly, I had a coach on the Division I level tell me a couple of weeks ago, quote, or close to a quote, "I have not had a parent ask about academics in 2 years."
They're not going to ask about academics anymore.
And greenbacks.
I promise you this, Billy and George, this will not be the last one. This is just now starting.
Yes.
Probably the first of many with this.
Certainly a heartwarming
absolutely.
story.
Definitely heartwarming. Also, some NFL news. According to police, the man that was injured in an alleged May 6th assault at a Dallas nightclub in which Chiefs receiver Rashee Rice doesn't want Rashee Rice charged for alleged assault. The police have come out and said that the reporting party has signed an affidavit of non-prosecution. The investigation is ongoing. So Rashee Rice might stay out of more trouble if this is the case. But
yes,
or maybe
his name is appearing a little too much here lately.
Yeah, and they drafted what's his name, Xavier Worthy. So, I mean, his spot if Rashee Rice does not come back, Xavier Worthy's got his spot. So, they were probably gonna have to make room for Worthy anyway. So that's out there. Also, Scotty Scheffler's Louisville court appearance has been postponed until June 3rd. So I don't think we had a date out yet yesterday when we mentioned that, but he faces 4 charges from the incident last Friday morning. He said Sunday he was unsure how things would unfold this week. He's scheduled to play in Fort Worth at PGA Tour event Colonial, which begins on Thursday. So June 3rd will be his court appearance. Also, Mississippi.
For those of you who couldn't see my look, I just sort of raised an eyebrow and went,
No comment.
Yeah.
Mississippi State basketball coach Chris Jans has signed a contract extension through the 2027-28 season. His base salary goes up to $4.2 million annually, and I think Mississippi State fans are hoping this extension doesn't pan out the way Jerry Stackhouse, his extension panned out at Vanderbilt, because we know how that works.
Wow.
What do y'all think about these? I mean, Jans deserves it, you'd say, right? I mean, it's not like he's lit the world on fire, but there are a lot of extensions going around that did end up feeling premature. Now, I know Vanderbilt's was an extreme case, but even, there's a lot of extensions out there, and sometimes they end up being a little too early. But we'll see about this on Jans.
Seems like the work ethic in Vanderbilt basketball has increased significantly in the last 6-7 weeks. Just my observation.
Really, if you keep it up, you could probably get a contract extension. If you keep up the good work.
That would only happen if I worked for Tony in Knoxville.
Really?
Oh,
that was a little
George.
Shot.
That was a shot.
I see where that's going.
I'd have to cover Tony Vitello, though.
How do you think that would play out?
I don't think Tony is a big fan of mine. I don't think he knows me, though. So
right, but
that'd be an interesting first conversation.
Your reputation precedes you. Tony, I'm Billy. I bleed black and gold.
That'd be great, Billy. I think you need to sit in a room with him for about 10 minutes.
He'd probably sock me in the face.
Well, whatever the case. Whatever the case, it was a wonderful update, Billy. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
After the break, Tony Basilio will join us from Knoxville. If you have never heard him before, if maybe you're watching or listening to this show for the first time, you're in for a treat. He is really good. He's got a great sense of humor, and we have had a blast with him. So segment number, whatever number it is, comes up. In just a moment, you're listening to the George Plaster Show on WNSR.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
Nashville, get ready for the greatest show on turf. Electrifying, high-octane, non-stop spring football action. Starting at only $30. Don't miss the season opener this April 27th at Municipal Auditorium.
Hi, I'm Jeff Fisher. The Nashville Cats are bringing arena football back to Nashville.
Grab your tickets now at thenashvillecats.com and be part of the action.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5688.
Brought to you by veteran-owned and operated Caesars Plumbing and Mechanical, LLC, serving up to a 50-mile radius from Nashville. For residential or commercial septic and plumbing installations, repairs, service, and construction, give the pros a call today and ask about their veteran and first responder discounts. 615-295-5359, 615-295-5359, or visit CaesarsPlumbing.com.
It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
All this has been great so far for Rand Garfield. Like, this offseason has been a really good offseason for the Titans. I mean, they really have knocked it out of the park here in the last week, right? I mean, Calvin Ridley, this trade, obviously landing Cushenberry.
Yeah.
Everything that they've done really has been really good.
The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin on Nashville Sports Radio WNSR.
Okay, before we bring Tony Basilio to our microphones, we welcome all of you back to the Fordyce Center in Bellevue, where our permanent digs are. We released today the first official greed rankings. What organizations want the last dollar you have? Number 1 on the list, of course, the National Football League. Number 2 on the list, Kelly, is Comcast. Yes, God bless them. And 3rd on the list for just outright greed, the Power 5 conferences. Have you seen the story?
I have not. But you are absolutely correct with all this stuff that's going on. They could care less about the little schools anymore. They just want the group of 5, and that's it.
So they're trying to settle this big lawsuit, which ultimately...
Excuse me, the Power 5. Sorry, George.
Yeah, which ultimately is going to cost them well over $2 billion. And what they have tried to do is screw over the little guy, the group of 5, and charge them more than they should be charged. On that, let's bring Tony Basilio into our microphones. Tony, did you like my little greed rankings?
There's no question. Although I would put major college sports 1 across the board. I mean, they are serious pigs, and what they do to their fans, just seeing it up close here, is disgusting.
How do you think this ends up playing out? Because it seems like the Power 5 are going to have to go back to the drawing board and come up with a realistic number. Apparently, they thought Group of 5 was a bunch of idiots.
Right. Well, I think Group of 5 is what they're agreeing that they would gladly be on the hook for a percentage of what you're talking about. Power 5 thought they were going to take that Group of 5 would take 60% of the hit. Is that according to the story I read? I was talking to somebody that's been inside major college sports for a long time who knows a ton of ADs. You know, around in different categories of schools. and they're losing. They understand now that their meal ticket's gone in large degree. Much of what they do, George, is funded through the NCAA.
Okay, suddenly I think we have lost Tony, and I don't pretend to know why that is. Billy, you want to help me here?
Did we lose Tony?
Yes.
We did. Yeah, he's gone.
He's gone. Now he's in the picture.
Yes.
Tony, we waved to you, but at the moment
he'll hop back in here.
Okay, we're not hearing him, so we'll get him back in here in just a second and see where this goes. Kelly, this is so pathetic in the Power 5 world. They are unbelievably greedy.
We've talked about it before, George. Though we've talked about Greg Sankey and Kevin Warren. They're the two guys that are the catalyst for that. They don't care about the little guy. They're trying to squeeze it out. It's my school where my son's got. It's trying to squeeze everybody out so they can make it all.
So Tony, we lost you for a second.
Yeah.
Go ahead and go wherever you were headed.
Well, it's just, first of all, what Kelly said is true. It's never enough. And if you do the simple math on this thing, the NCAA basketball tournament makes about $1 billion. Okay, let's just say that. That's 2 years of NCAA basketball tournaments for the little guys. If you factor in $2 billion and they got to bear a lion's share of it, which is what the big boys want, that's basically 2 years that the little guys don't get any revenue off that basketball tournament. George, that's not sustainable. The other problem they have here is, after this lawsuit is settled, what's to stop others from coming behind without further litigation saying, I want mine? And the story with the group of five is the group of five and lower are saying to the big boys, wait a second. This is so you can pay your athletes. This isn't about our athletes. This is about your athletes. Why should we bear the brunt of, so you can live in peace and do all these things? I mean, George, the ship sailed so long ago, and I don't know if you saw the story out of Florida today with the Rashada kid, but the quarterback down there, he's suing Florida because they promised his father $1 million at signing, at least the Rashada family says. And I know from talking to different people that there's so much lying that goes on in the press about these NIL figures. But there's also lying that goes on to these kids and their families in terms of this is what will get you. And what they're hoping is, hey, you come here and you'll take a fraction of it and this, that, and the other in certain cases. And the whole system, the whole thing right now is a mess. And the real loser in this whole thing is the fan, which gets back to greed. Fans pay more now than ever before for the sports experience. Is it better? Is it a better experience than it was 20 years ago? Is it better in any of these arenas? I'm just asking. I'm asking, is it that much better that you would pay that much more to go to a major college football game or for your tickets or whatever it is? We were looking today. Next on Monday, okay. I'll keep it in the realm of the season we're in. On Monday, Memorial Day Monday, they're announcing the NCAA, the draw for the NCAA tournament, okay? That also is the first day that the transfer portal opens for baseball for 45 days. Now, that's the most idiotic thing in the world. Stop and think about that for a second.
Right.
We're going to have our playoff and play off our playoff, okay? But these coaches, all of them, Corbin, well, that's if they get in. Corbin, Tennessee, whatever, they got to worry about, who's going to get recruited off my roster? Who am I going to recruit off somebody else's roster? I mean, shouldn't they push that back 2 or 3 weeks? But this is what we're dealing with the NCAA. They're completely idiotic.
Well, here's the scenario that comes out on Monday. A school that was on the bubble, busy celebrating because they got in. and they're having a big watch party, and it's just celebration city. And all of a sudden, a kid comes up to Coach Johnson and says, "I need a minute of your time."
Yeah,
I'm in the transfer portal.
See ya.
Yeah,
Nice knowing you.
Did you see? And I don't know what newspaper released it, but I guess they went back through tax returns. A year ago, the SEC paid each of the 14 schools somewhere like between 53.1 and 53.8 million. That's insane.
Well, and I'm back to greed again. Okay, George, do you know that during all this with the what's going on with the proliferation of revenue from the TV deal, ticket prices in these stadiums is increasing exponentially across the board for all these sports. If you're making all that TV money, how about giving the break to the fans that are getting squeezed in our economy? If you said that to one of those ADs, they would look at you like you had four heads.
Yep.
But it's the truth.
But it's also the reason why if an LSU is 7-4 and you look in the end zone and you see more empties than you expect, that's the reason.
Well, that's what they're doing at all these schools. The people that are drawing the fans are the ones that are winning. Used to be everybody drew fans. But the more you make this thing, and the longer we get down the line, and the more it becomes about professional athletes at the SEC level, the harder it's going to be for fans to relate to it. And that troubles my heart because that's where we live. And that's what I love. I love the fan experience, and try to do as fan-centric a show as possible and from a fan's point of view. And that whole greed ranking, George, that NCAA, I mean, they take the cake now. They're 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for me. And big time college athletics
the
is a
NFL.
mess. Well, the thing with the NFL is at least the NFL tells you who they are and what they are.
Right.
All these years, these people have been trying to act like they're in the education business, and that is a bunch of nonsense.
Kelly, last week, while you were not here, you were on a recruiting trip. Tony expressed to us very heartfelt sorrow that you weren't here.
It was
crushing.
crushing.
I don't know if I believe that because you're so into Watson. I'm not sure I believe that anymore, Tony.
I decided after last week's show, I'm into Billy Derrick, who's phenomenal.
Hey, he's already been trying to get up there to Knoxville, man. He's worried about having to interview Tony Vitello, though. That's his whole problem.
Well, I only cued Tony in on half of it when they on that podcast I listened to last year when they compared, Tony to the forces of evil. I'd say that was going a little too far, but hey, this guy's won close to 70% of his games in the SEC. He's working on a third trip to the College World Series. These guys are crazy. It's Tennessee baseball. Hey, I was there the other night in the rain. Okay, I had family in town, so I took them to the game, and it was a deal, George, where I was pot committed because it was raining, and I was like, I don't do anything in the rain. First of all, I'm too old for that. And secondly, I'm too old for that. But anyway, so it was raining out. We went to the game. I thought, well, maybe the weather will hold off. And it just started storming. Blake Burke hit a grand slam into the night sky when it was hard raining in that place. And my nephew turned to me and he said, I cannot believe this place is jam-packed. I cannot believe the atmosphere in here, but I get what you're talking about, why this is different. Because it is a big time experience when Southeastern Conference baseball is played between two pretty good teams in an environment like that. You couldn't give tickets away, George. Could not give them away when this guy took the job.
Oh, I remember.
7,500 people in the driving rain on a night where there's graduation on campus. There wasn't a parking spot to be found. There was not an empty seat in the place, George. Not an empty seat.
Is he, I know he's a Missouri guy. Is he comfortable? I mean, do you think you could keep this guy for a long time? I mean, is he satisfied where he's at, or is because he's made something unbelievable there. They're number one in the nation, and I mean, does he have? I'm sure he's probably got goals, but do you think you guys can keep him there?
Well, look, he can win a national championship from here, and he loves the sport. The thing I love about Tony is, and Tony will tell you this, Tony's married to his baseball team. Not a married guy, doesn't have a family per se, and he considers his kids his family, and he says he's married to his baseball team, and he pours himself into it and goes for it. And so from that perspective, our information is, and we wrote about it on Monday over at our blog at tclub.team, Danny White's already out in front of that because Danny White knows that Texas is getting ready to join the league, and their coach down there has been middling. And Chris Del Conte is a big splash guy, as George knows. And big splash in that sport, the first call you'd make, the first call anybody would make if they had the means, is Tony Vitello, who's making $1.5 million a year in a sport that doesn't generate money, but he's way underpaid at $1.5 million a year for the amount of buzz that this guy creates here and the amount of good feelings that he creates as well. Just goodwill for the school.
Hey, Kelly, before you continue, this is Tony Basilio, Knoxville Sports Talk Show host. I thought I would say that. That's one of those old radio tricks.
There you go.
That veterans who have been around the block a few times will do.
We call that, Kelly. Hey, Kelly, we call that average quarter-hour maintenance in the business.
So with the atmosphere of sports now and with the atmosphere of all this money, Tennessee just won their 5th outright SEC title. They've won 9 series in a row.
Yeah.
How do you keep – they're going to be they're going to host a super regional.
Yeah.
I think I asked you this last year, but since the people are newly listening to this, how does Tony Vitello keep these guys interested? Because they know they're going to the dance. They know they're going to host a super regional. Yeah. How do you motivate these guys to win the SEC tournament after the year that they've already had?
Kelly, I don't think they care about the SEC tournament. Now, they're not going to tell you that.
Okay.
And he's not going to tell his kids that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if it's me, I want to play 2 games, maybe 3, and get out of there. If they play 4, that means they've made the SEC championship game. If you look at the bracket, the way it works with the single elimination. And then, so if you look at the way the brackets fall, Tennessee at the end of this plays either Vanderbilt or Florida tomorrow, and then they play somebody Thursday, and then they would go jump all the way to Saturday, I think is the way the brackets will work. So they can play 4 games. I guess how that works. At any rate, to me, Kelly, I think if you play 3, that's great. If you play 2, so what? Mississippi State a couple years ago, Tennessee ruled them down there. We thought, oh my gosh, wow. Mississippi State went and won the national championship that year. All you got to do here is just set your pitching. One of their pitchers, A.J. Russell, it's been speculated, who was going to be probably their premier starting pitcher this year, or at least vie for that role. He has not pitched. They've shut him down a few times. And the hope is that they will get him some work here to get him ready for the kind of the real postseason. So it'll be interesting to see how they manage that.
Tony, so this is I was thinking about this today. Is this kind of like the golden age for the Vols? Because you look at all their sports. I mean, you look what they've done with football with Josh Heupel. Then you got Rick Barnes, who had him in the top 10 all year, got him up, I think, to 3 or 4. The Tennessee women's basketball is a little down, but they just made a hire. They're still one of the elite programs in the country. Then you got the baseball team doing this. The softball team's really well. I saw where the golf team was doing really good. like, is this like a golden age for Tennessee sports? Like, I've
never
never
seen
seen. I don't remember when I was growing up that you had one team that would do good, but then all the other ones were mediocre. But right now, it seems like UT's whole athletic department, with Danny White ahead of it, is killing it.
I've had a couple coaches tell me that they don't want to be the one at the meeting when they all get together, like when they have these interdepartment meetings. They don't want to be the one not pulling their weight. And that goes for, revenue, non-revenue, what have you. The other thing that's going on their campuses, there's a real spirit of collegiality among these coaches, because you and I both know down through the years, you know this, I know this, any workplace is about personality. And anytime you have people and personalities, you're going to have people that like each other, don't like each other. You're going to have factions. You're going to have that kind of thing. Tennessee's got a real sense with the staff they have in place. And the funny thing is, like a Tony Vitello was hired by John Curry. Heupel was brought here by Danny White. Rick Barnes was brought here by Dave Hart. There have been several different people. Their volleyball team was really, really good last year. Philip Fulmer hired the volleyball coach. He came here to fix football and he fixed volleyball. So as the athletic director. So, the crazy thing is all these people were hired by different people at different times, but they're all winning, which, I do think that in certain environments, when one begins to win, everybody just kind of starts to expect to, and these athletes are around each other. And you're right. I don't ever remember a time where it's going as well right now. Like last week, the women's team out of nowhere, the tennis team made a Final Four.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. Crazy.
Absolutely crazy. Good for them. Good for Tennessee's athletic department.
Yep.
That they've gotten it to this. So, Tony, for you and I, we've been doing this together almost 2 years.
Right.
And the people who have heard this over the last 2 years have loved you. They have really taken to what you put out there. For an audience that may be new to what you do, lay it all out there. How can they join you?
Well, you could hear us at tclub.team. And then after Tennessee baseball games, once we get to the postseason, I don't count the SEC tournament. No offense. I'm not counting that as a postseason. I mean, for some teams, it's more important than others, but we will be doing post-game shows there once it gets real, which is in about a week and a half, I guess. Let's see. About a week and a half or so, 10 days. And it's an exciting time of the year. It really is. And we've been tracking some basketball recruiting. We've got some football recruiting stuff that's going to go up on the site here in the next couple of days as well. I've got somebody that tracks that for us. And it's just an exciting time right now. It really is. It's a fun season. And I saw where the NCAA today is talking about adopting a June signing period for football. The early signing period, a June early signing period, which means there will officially be no downtime at a place like this if that happens.
You got that right. Hey, thank you as always. We'll do it again next week. And maybe we'll throw some humor into it. Maybe you can read Billy's resume to us after he sends it.
Well, no, I love Billy, but I just want Billy to know that in Rocky Top, we are being the loyal opposition, and we're rooting for Florida to knock Vandy out today, maybe out of the whole thing. No offense, Billy. Love you. I'm for you, not against you, but no offense.
Don't sound that way.
Like it does it. No, it really doesn't.
No offense.
Tony, thank you.
See you guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
He is a piece of work. We started, for those of you who are new to this, we started this rumor months ago that Billy had very quietly gotten his resume to Tony. Tony sent it off to his stepbrother, Tony Vitello, who nixed the thing right out of the chute. Just said, no way in hell is this kid coming to work in Knoxville. After the break, we're going to put some of the talk in Sports Talk Radio. Stay with us. Over the years,
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank and Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank and Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
We are back. I have a question. The question is, does anybody on this panel believe that the Indiana Pacers take Boston to the mat?
No.
Absolutely not. I mean, the Pacers are a good team, but I think they got, I say lucky. They've kind of got that playoff fluke a little bit with the Knicks where they were banged up and the Knicks gave it all they had, but the Pacers were more skilled and just a better team. I think they're running into a buzzsaw. Maybe not a sweep, but I think the Celtics roll big time.
I think with the Porzingis injury, I mean I don't even know if that matters. You guys think that even matters?
I don't
I mean,
think
he's still out. I don't think. Yeah, I'm like I don't know if it matters at all. I think that Boston has been in this thing and they're experienced, and I think when Denver goes out, I think Boston is. I think they're in the top seed to win the whole thing. I really do. Now Minnesota's really good, and they're young. They got some young players. They're really good, but they haven't been to the. They hadn't been in the battles like Boston's been in the battles the last couple of years, and I think that's going to help Boston. I like Indiana because I think they've got some hard-nosed guys. I just don't think they're there yet. But hey, that's why they play. They could prove us wrong. Who knows?
I am inching closer to saying don't be shocked when Indiana gives them a tough time for a couple of reasons. Number one, Indiana showed me a mental toughness Sunday to go to the Garden and beat that crowd and shoot 98 million % on the way to doing it. The other is there's something about the Celtics that I'm not totally sold on. I think they're soft. You asked about Porzingis. he's kind of proved me wrong this year. I've always thought he was a wuss bag who just wanted to sit out on that 3-point line. He's shown me a little bit more than that. I also wonder at times if the Celtics are better off without him, like I thought the Knicks were better off without Julius Randle. So I'm leaning closer to Indiana than maybe the two of you are.
In the past with the Celtics, and I'm with you on the Celtics, not as much this year, but last year, it was Jimmy Butler who was an alpha and just ripped their hearts out, but do the Pacers have that kind of guy? Do they have a Jimmy Butler type that can just take their soul and take over games for the Pacers? Is it Halliburton? Maybe, maybe not. It feels like it's going to have to be Halliburton if they want to have a shot.
Well,
Okay.
I just remember talking to Will Perdue yesterday, and he was talking about the adjustments that Phil Jackson made in some of their playoff games by putting Scottie Pippen on guys. And I think the Neesmith guy, when they put him on Jalen Brunson, I think that was huge for those guys because I think he brings a toughness. I don't know if he's the greatest of scorers, but you got tough guys like that. So I'm kind of with you, George. I mean, I think Boston wins it, and I think they win the whole thing. But it wouldn't surprise me because I think Indiana just being, I lived in that city in Indianapolis for 5 years, and they love basketball, and they've kind of got a tough mentality with, Reggie Miller back in the day and the big Dutchman, Rick Smits and all those guys. I enjoyed all that, and I think they breed a tough brand of football in Indiana, so it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Is anybody prepared on this panel to say the Minnesota Timberwolves will be your NBA champion?
I'm getting close.
I'm real close.
They're pretty good, man. They're pretty good.
By the way, tomorrow on the show, Anthony Edwards, college coach. Remember, he went to Georgia for a year, which is about to become a big trivia question.
Yeah.
Tom Crean, who recruited him, will join us tomorrow at 5 o'clock on the button, and we'll ask him, how'd you get him?
I can't believe that the child is only 22 years old, man. He looks like a seasoned vet with the way that he plays. They got Karl Anthony Towns too, which, he's so big, but he wants to shoot 3-pointer. You talk about Kristaps, Karl Anthony Towns, like, get your big butt inside and go post somebody up. But he wants to, his claim to fame is I'm the best big man shooter in the NBA. And he shows us every night he plays.
Georgia didn't even make the tournament that year. They weren't even remotely close either. That was not a good team, but he was on it.
No, but he did hit a 35-footer at the buzzer at Memorial Gym to beat Vandy, which I remember.
You had to bring that up.
Sadly. Okay, after
George, sorry. They're probably the best defensive team in this thing. Do you not agree?
Oh, I think by a mile.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think when they turn it up to their A game, nobody plays defense like the Timberwolves. I think they're going to be the NBA champion.
Oh, wow. It's big.
Maybe you'll ask Tom if Michael Jordan is actually Anthony's dad, the question that everybody
he might be. Okay, after the break, we're going to explain what it is we're going to do during the 5 o'clock hour. I want audience participation to the max. Stay tuned. You're listening and maybe even watching the George Plaster Show on WNSR.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
And now Caesars Plumbing and Mechanical is reminding motorists to slow down on our roadways, keep an eye out for kids at play, and never text and drive. This message brought to you by veteran-owned and operated Caesars Plumbing and Mechanical, LLC, serving up to a 50-mile radius from Nashville. For residential or commercial septic and plumbing installations, repairs, service, and construction, give the pros a call today and ask about their veteran and first responder discount, 615-295-5359, 615-295-5359, or visit CaesarsPlumbing.com. That's Caesars Plumbing and Mechanical, LLC. They're professionals who care.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank and Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank and Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Clarksville Electric Service is on the air reminding all motorists to slow down in residential neighborhoods and school zones. Never text and drive, and always designate a driver when celebrating. This message is courtesy of Clarksville Electric Service, serving Clarksville, Tennessee for over 10 years. For commercial and residential installs and maintenance, call Clarksville Electric Service today at 931-614-0186, 931-614-0186, or visit ClarksvilleElectricService.com.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It says that we are sports talk radio. If you take out the podcast that some of you may be watching. Talk. I haven't had the ability for y'all to talk to me, or for that matter, Kelly or Billy, in almost 2 years. And I've missed that. A little frustrated about that. Also frustrated at Comcast. But that's neither here nor there, and I will continue to bellyache about Comcast.
We've got our call-in number here, 615-844-5600. Should we put the Comcast number on the screen, too?
I think that'd be good. If you can get through to somebody there, God bless you. Anyway, my point is this. Okay, I got 2 minutes to sell it. During the 5 o'clock hour, we are going to completely go open phones. Your questions for me, for Kelly, and yes, even for Billy. You might want to ask him, how the hell did you get involved with these two? It may come up.
That's a real good question.
It's a very good question. Anyway, the phone number is 615-844-5600. Again, 844-5600, and of course, use the 615 area code. At the very beginning of the hour, right at 5:03, we'll go back down to Hoover, Alabama, get an SEC baseball tournament update from Billy Jones, and then it's to the phones. I want those phones packed. I want good questions. I want good comments, and in lieu of that, it can just be normal question.
Are we sure that Billy can handle this? I've asked this several times, George. Are we sure that he's got it under control?
I think this is a good test.
This will be a good test.
This
He
will
might
kinda
be
the
sweating bullets in
litmus
about
test.
20 minutes. Yeah, he might be sweating.
So far, we've not had any major snafus, knock on wood, but if
Better.
we're going to have one, it might be in the translation of the phones to us.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will.
And then that's when I get to yell at Billy because it's all his fault if it doesn't go right.
You aim all of it at Billy. Do you think the
Oh,
listeners
absolutely.
are starting to pick up that you hate the guy?
I don't hate him, but it's his fault. There's no question about that. He's supposed to be the smart one of the bunch, and sometimes I wonder.
Wow.
Big Father Ryan guy.
I never said he was the smart one in the bunch. Anyway,
Well,
I want to see how many of you are out there who want to talk some sports. I'm excited about this. I hope you can tell it. We're ready to get rocking and rolling. And if you take a cheap shot at Comcast, who knows? You may win something. Yeah, that's how I feel right now. So let's hit the music and get ourselves ready because the 5 o'clock hour is y'all. Call us, 615-844-5600. You got that, Billy?
Got it.
Don't screw up. By the way, nobody but me really picked the Timberwolves.
Congrats.
no, yeah.
I went out on a limb.
That's big, George.
Yeah. I also had Vancouver last night.
Yeah, you did. Your bet don't look very good either.
Thanks a bunch. We're out of here for about 3 minutes, but we will be back.
On air and online, Sports Radio WNSR. Brentwood, Nashville.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. This update on that violent, bumpy air that rocked a jetliner over the Indian Ocean today shows it was more severe than first reported, even with one person aboard dead. ABC's Alex Stone.
After the Singapore Airlines Boeing 777 hit the severe turbulence, a plane made an emergency landing in Bangkok. New numbers show 71 people went to hospitals, including 2 American passengers. 6 passengers have critical injuries. 1 person is dead. 4 passengers on board in total were American.
The defense rested its case in Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial today in New York without calling the defendant to the stand. Closing arguments are expected a week from today. The UN suspending food distribution in the southern Gaza city, Rafah, citing a lack of supplies and insecurity. Elvis Presley's estate fighting what it says is a fraudulent scheme to auction off Graceland to the highest bidder. This is ABC News.
From grown wordy dad jokes to patching up skinned knees, your one-of-a-kind dad deserves a gift guaranteed to take him to his happy place. Show him the love with a gift as unforgettable as he is. Omaha Steaks. Order the deluxe Father's Day gift package at omahasteaks.com. 20 unforgettable entrees plus 4 free burgers for just $89.99 when you use promo code QUALITY at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, code QUALITY at checkout.
Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Gas, groceries, utilities, you name it, the price of everything is going up. And if you're stuck in a bad timeshare with rising maintenance fees, the financial burden can be crushing. It is time to get your finances in order and get the real facts about that timeshare that you are stuck in and your options to get rid of it. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has been helping families out of horrible timeshares for over 10 years and has put together a complete timeshare exit information kit that he will send you absolutely free. To date, over 30,000 families have trusted Wesley Financial Group to help them out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares. Get the facts about how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation. Simply call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit and see how you can become timeshare free. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. Once again, 800-462-3333.
WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio. From the Nashville Sports Radio Media Complex. Welcome back to the George Plaster Show. Call George now at 615-844-5600 and online at WNSR.com. And now, George Plaster.
Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown, Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Kelly Holcomb, along with Young Gun Billy Derry. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
And we welcome all of you into hour number 2 of the show. We're going to head over to, I guess it would be down to Hoover, Alabama, which is a suburb of Birmingham and the longtime site of the SEC baseball tournament. Once that report is over, we'll get to your phones and see where you all want to go. If you're watching by way of the podcast, this is Billy Jones, University of Missouri student and soon to be graduate one of these days of that fine school. Billy, tell us what's going on today so far.
We don't have you, Billy.
Oh, Billy.
Vanderbilt just underway. You hear me now. I apologize about that. If you missed it earlier, LSU with an upset win over South Carolina 9-1, and then, or excuse me, over Georgia 9-1, and then South Carolina really got the bats going today against Alabama. Vanderbilt trying to set up a date with Tennessee tomorrow and all but lock up their spot in the tournament. Solid inning of work for Bryce Cunningham, who had a real rough go of it last Thursday up in Lexington. He worked an 8-pitch 1-2-3 first. Vanderbilt will see if he can give them a big outing today. They've certainly, I think, got the advantage in this matchup. Florida's rolling with Pierce Coppola. It's going to be a bullpen kind of day. And, you know, in these midweek matchups, Vanderbilt's been a lot better this year than Florida has. So a big spot for Tim Corbin and company, and a big chance to try and really assault away this NCAA tournament bid.
Billy, some people think Vandy is in. Others think they've got to win a game in the tournament. What's the consensus down there?
It seems to be still largely positive that they probably should be in there. You know, last year, 11 SEC teams were in the field. I imagine it's going to be the same this year. You know, I think you always want to feel better. Certainly, if you're looking for help, Vanderbilt's gotten it so far. You know, if you look over at Charlotte, Louisville and Georgia Tech have both lost today. Two teams that are very much still in that bubble conversation. So, you know, I think things are trending the right way for Vanderbilt, especially with that win they were able to notch Saturday up against Kentucky. But I think a win today would really be the final boost up they need to ensure that they're going to be a no doubt come Sunday.
So scoreless in the second against Florida.
That's correct.
Okay.
Both teams went 1-2-3, no base runners.
Beautiful. Billy, thank you. We'll check back in with you right at the end of the show.
Sounds great. Thank you, George.
Billy Jones reporting live from the Hoover Met down in Alabama, site of the SEC baseball tournament. Okay, here we go to the phones, and thanks to those of you who are already on there, 615-844-5600 is the number. Let's go Eric on line 1. Eric, welcome in.
He ruined the surprise, George.
How
you doing?
Good. Good to talk to
Hey,
you.
you're just like a bad penny that keeps turning up. I'm just, you know that.
That's certainly a vote of confidence.
No, George, you know I love you. I'm so glad to have you back on these airways. It's just such a thrill. You being on the airways, and I know you're going to do a fantastic job. And I know you're going to have the usual regular things that you usually have, things like, of course, the insiders, for college football and basketball and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to all that stuff upcoming in the fall.
Yeah, that's absolutely what we're going to try to do, is bring a lot of the stuff that we've done in our radio life long before now. And to be honest, a lot of the stuff we've been doing on the podcast. But go ahead. I know you got some stuff.
Yeah. A couple of things. I'm going to get to just update on how I'm doing at the end of this. But one quick thing I want to talk to you is about Tim Corbin. And I guess you knew about this. It happened recently where, and I hate this, where fans went on social media and actually were calling for him to be fired. And I think a lot of that stuff had to do with the way they were playing Tennessee. They did win the last game of that series. But I think before that, they lost 9 straight. They had some issues where they had games where they got run ruled. And the fact that anybody would just go on social media and call Tim Corbin to be fired, that's just, I thought, was disgusting. Because let me tell you something. Of course, you know this, George. This guy's gotten you 2 College World Series championships over the last 10 years. Gotten to a couple other finals. Done so much for the community. Of course, he recently had the older brother kid who had passed away that fell down that storm drain, and just the fact that anybody would do that, quote unquote, their Vanderbilt fans would go on social media and want him fired, I thought was just totally insane for anybody to do that. I mean, he does need me to defend him. I don't know the man or whatever, but I just know what he's done in the program. He's been there 20 years. They're not going to fire him, and I don't think he's leaving anytime soon. But if he were to walk out that door, you're not going to find anybody that's going to do a better job for you.
No, you got that right. Listen, we'll talk about this after you get off the call. Tell me how you're doing.
I'm hanging in, George. It's been rough. I'm trying to get back on my feet. In fact, one of the things I'm trying to do, see if I can do, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, not trying to see if I can't go back to work for a couple of different reasons. One, to be honest with you, just kind of bored sitting around the house doing nothing, but also just trying to earn some income because I definitely qualify for disability, but my situation is that's a long process, and plus I pretty much would have to be crippled, and I'm still fairly mobile, so if I can, I'm going to try to go back to work. It's just I can't do anything physically demanding, but I'm getting some help with some friends trying to see if I can't find a job and go back to work, so we'll see what happens. I don't know how much I'll be listening or how much I'll be able to call in, but I'm definitely going to listen as long as I can. I'll definitely call back in Friday for Memorial Day weekend, but as always, it's a pleasure to talk to you, and guys, take care, and I know you're going to make this show a great success. We'll talk to you again soon.
Eric, thank you. Now, that's a guy, Billy, who has been with me going back to the late 80s of doing this stuff.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
talk about loyal.
Yeah.
Man, he is loyal.
He's a fixture across the city, too, and it's always good to hear his voice.
So let's get to the Corbin issue. First of all, the whole he needs to resign is a bunch of bull.
A bunch of bull.
It is completely disgusting. This man has earned the right. You talk about, does anybody, achieve lifetime achievement status? If there is such a thing, Kelly, it's Tim Corbin. I mean, he's earned the right to look over this program and say, okay, here's what I need to do to get it back to the glory years. He's earned that right to do that without being sniped at.
He's one of the good spots in college sports. Like, why would you even? I said this, a couple of weeks ago. But you look at Bill Belichick. The guy went to all these Super Bowls. He won all these Super Bowls with the Giants, with the Patriots, and he got thrown out like a dish rag. And I think the same thing was going to happen to Nick Saban. Just say if Nick Saban, he was up on such a pedestal, but you start slipping a little bit and losing a few games and can't control this NIL and the transfer portal stuff, and your name starts going down. Like this new society, man, that's the way things are going. But that's absolutely absurd. Like Tim Corbin is one of the winningest coaches. He's won 2 national championships at Vanderbilt. He deserves a little rope. You're not going to be great every year, but I mean, he'll get them back. I mean, he's a great baseball coach, and that hadn't gone anywhere. So I'm with the caller, man. I can't believe that the situation is like that, and people think that.
Yeah, it's one thing to say, he should be fired or he should resign, but it's also another thing to say he has to make adjustments. He probably has to adapt and probably has to look at the program and say, okay, where are we failing? Where are our weaknesses? How do we attack that? And it's really not that difficult. I mean, you gotta attack the transfer portal. They were banged up this year. They had a ton of injuries, but they need power.
Well, how do you attack the transfer portal when the school won't accept most of the credits that kids have gotten from other schools?
Well, that's a good point, but they have to do more than what they've done because you look at other schools like Georgia. They brought in. I mean, their entire lineup were guys out of the portal. I mean, Vanderbilt can do more than they've done, and I think they know that. I think they would tell you that. Now, they don't have to go crazy. They don't have to go find 8, 9 more bats. I just think they need to find some portal players that have power.
Okay, let's go next to Blake on line 2. Blake, welcome in.
The prodigal son of Nashville Sports Radio returns. It's good to hear you again, George. How you doing?
Thank you. It's nice to be back.
Hey, it's good to hear you again, Billy. Know we had a little short time together on the show, and glad to see you're doing well. Kelly, it's nice to meet you. Heard a lot of great things. Stop giving Billy such a hard time. I love the kid. All right.
I know you do, but I can't help that, brother. Sorry.
I'm gonna drop off just a couple questions for y'all. I won't take up too much time. First question, Preds related. The news: Ryan McDonough is gone, and I'm of the personal opinion that UC Saros, especially in that playoff series, was left to fend for himself more often than we would like. And you can't put too much of the blame on him. I think our defensive core has maybe gotten away from doing a thorough job of really being there to defend him. Do we think with the amount of cap we have, as well as the loss of a very good veteran defenseman, that Barry Trotz is going to return back to his roots and say, we're going to make a pretty big push to get some good defensive guys back on our lineup?
I think the answer starts with yes and yes and yes. But I also think some of this, first of all, it's gotten out that McDonough, as I kind of thought was the case, requested the trade. Kelly, the other thing I think going on is they've got some real confidence in Spencer Stastny, who got hurt in the Vancouver series. And that was one of those injuries that I think was underrated and did not get the amount of attention maybe it should have. He's got speed. They really like him. And I'm with Blake. They're probably going to go get somebody in free agency.
But you saw what the Tennessee Titans did when you got a salary cap room. I mean, they've totally changed that team. It's going to be a totally different team. Now the pressure's on Will Levis. And you look at what Barry Trotz did at the end of the year when they made that run. I mean, he signed some really good, hard-nosed guys that got them. I don't think anybody would have thought that they would have been where they finished at the beginning of the year. And I think everybody was really happy. And I've said this on the show that it was really encouraging for me. I think there's a lot of good things to look forward to with Barry Trotz and all the things that they've got going on for the Predators.
Okay, let's go Jaden on line 3. Welcome in. How are you?
Good. How are you? I'm glad to have you back on the radio. Missed you. But my question is, with the Western Conference Finals coming up, who benefits more from winning the Western Conference Finals? Is it Luka or is it Anthony Edwards?
Well, tell me what you mean by that. Who benefits more?
Well, I think to their career. Like, I think who is going to if Luka wins, does this solidify him into the top 10, or Anthony Edwards the next Michael Jordan?
Okay. Kelly, you look like you want to start that one.
Man, I don't know. That's a good question. I just think that if you look at it, I think Minnesota is, they were built to beat the Denver Nuggets, which they did. And if you look at Dallas, I mean, it's Luka and Kyrie. And if you look at what, the Minnesota Timberwolves are doing defensively, I think, I just said it. I think they're the best defense in the league. And if they put that defense on you, like they did against Denver a couple of games, they're really good. And I think Anthony Edwards, I mean, we talk about, we don't want to talk about Michael Jordan in that, but the guy's 22 years old. He's got a long career ahead of him. And I mean, the way they look, they could be coming and they could be a team if they can keep that nucleus together. I think Luke and them need more pieces. I really do. I think Minnesota's got it. And George just said, hey, he thought that he took the stand and said, I thought they may be NBA champions this year. So if they are, and they keep that team together, they can make a long run.
Jaden, I'll answer it this way. I think Luka getting them to the round, with 4 left, is pretty amazing. Minnesota's going to win world titles. Dallas is not until, as Kelly said earlier, until they get Luka some more pieces. Because here's the other thing nobody's talking about, and it's kind of hit me. Kyrie's not the player he used to be. He's also not the psycho that he has been in some other places. He's calmed his act down, but I don't think he's as good a player today as he was, say, 2 or 3 years ago. Luka needs more help. Minnesota's got the pieces there.
They do.
I think he's gone. So why don't we do this? I'm looking at the phone roster or whatever you call it, and it looks like we've got one line that's open. So I want somebody to jump in and grab that third line at 615-844-5600. I appreciate the first 3 who jumped in. I wanted to be able to talk wall to wall during this hour with you all. I haven't gotten to do this in 2 years.
You knock the rust off.
You think there was a lot of rust?
I'm kidding.
Wow. I thought it was like riding a bicycle.
I'll just
Once
say,
you learn, you're not going to fall down.
George, you've done well. You've done really well. It hasn't. You seem like you've been doing this forever, which you have.
Yes, I have. We'll go to the break on that. Somebody fill up that final phone line. You're listening to the George Plaster Show on WNSR.
You were in a crash.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, you need to call Bart Durham. And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Nashville, get ready for the greatest show on turf. Electrifying, high-octane, non-stop spring football action. Starting at only $30. Don't miss the season opener this April 27th at Municipal Auditorium.
Hi, I'm Jeff Fisher. The Nashville Cats are bringing arena football back to Nashville.
Grab your tickets now at thenashvillecats.com and be part of the action.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5688.
Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
As the weather heats up, so do the Braves. And they're showing the National League that they're still a force to be reckoned with.
3-2, that's hit very well to deep center field. That's heading back towards the batter's eye and way out of the ballpark.
Tonight, the Braves roll into historic Wrigley Field in Chicago for a National League battle with Dansby Swanson and the Chicago Cubs.
Pre-game coverage begins at 6:25, exclusively on WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
By the way, some of you, as we welcome you back, will remember that the Braves used to have on television a shot from right field coming in to Truist Field, the Comcast camera. Yeah, nice. That's really
You should
special.
call him, George. You should call him. You should call him.
Oh, I've tried. You end up being sent to Guam if you try to call. But we digress. We head back to the phones. We wanted this 5 o'clock hour to be you all and us. And let's yap a little sports. Let's go to Tony in Nolensville. Tony, how are you?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Hello, George.
Hello, Tony. Good to hear from you.
It's good to hear from you, George. I tried to be your first caller, but I can't beat those people calling in at 4:30, 4:45. I wanted to kick off the show, buddy. I wanted to kick it off. Kelly, with George back on the airways, it's like the old saying, Daddy's home.
You got that, Kelly? Daddy's home.
Daddy's home, huh? Yeah, he's got the daddy's
Daddy's home.
Kelly looks like he wants to puke.
I do kind of want to vomit in my mouth right now, but hey, it's okay.
Kelly, being you, I don't know if you remember it, but Billy, I'll tell you this little story. I've told it to George. Back several years ago, Boots Donnelly was having his ceremony of being recognized in the National Football Collegiate Hall of Fame, and I sat with Kelly at the same table, and we wasn't too far from the stage, and Coach Donnelly's going over this was at Father Ryan, and he's going over his speech and had everybody's attention, and of course Kelly Coach Donnelly said something, and Kelly threw out some little remark. Of course, it was a slanted remark, and several heard it. Coach Donnelly gave us a little look, and I thought he was going to make us leave that table and go run belly flops out there on that damn football field.
Yeah, that was fun that night to get to roast Coach Donnelly. That was really fun. But he's always
That was fun. It really was. That was a fun night, Kelly. It really was.
Every time he gives a speaking engagement, though, if there's somebody he's always the last one. So if somebody says something about him, he can get them back, which is exactly what he did to me. His thing to me was, in order for Kelly to have a social life, we had to huddle up.
That's cold. But Tony, as you know, Boots has a statue on the MTSU campus, and I'm told the birds have a field day with that thing.
Oh, absolutely.
You think the cicadas are on it today?
I think they're stuck to it, and I think that's a really interesting point you brought up. By the way, how long are these damn things going to be with us?
Oh, I'm with you.
4 weeks, what I hear.
Get them out of here. Send them to Comcast.
George, Tony Basilio, he echoed the same statements that you and I and Watson talked when this NIL and portal stuff come out 4 or 5 years ago. And we knew where it was headed, and it's a runaway train, and it is affecting, as Tony Basilio said, the one that's going to ultimately pay the price are the fans. Back in the day when Kelly played and I played, it was fun to see, and whoever you watch, whoever your favorite team was, to watch a player come in as a freshman develop. And then by the time he hit senior year, you were seeing a good football player, a good player that has come through the ranks and matured. And you don't get that connection no more. You see 1 or 2 come in, then boom, they're gone. And that's what I personally hate about the portal and the NIL, that people are just jumping from ship to ship to ship. And but Tony Basilio was right. And I want to just echo that statement also.
Tony, we're going to, if it's okay, we'll talk about this off air and let you hear it.
Absolutely. But glad you're back on the airwaves, George, and going to be a weekly caller, no doubt. Maybe a daily. See you, buddy.
Good man. Thank you. So, Kelly, I think all of us believe that one of the things that is going to ruin this NIL is when schools keep going back to the same donors. And in particular, when ex-football school that went 3-8 the year before goes to this person and he says, I ain't getting involved. All y'all do is lose.
I'm with you, George. I don't understand it. I mean, at some point, the schools are going to have to get involved, but now they've got these collectives where they go out and they raise the money from boosters and things like that. And I don't know, like, if you're giving money to a certain kid and then the kid's not playing or he's not playing good, like, I mean, it's bringing professionalism into an amateur sport. And, George, I'm going to say this for the listeners. I've always said this because I can remember talking with Coach Donnelly and Coach Rob and some of my coaches at middle. Like, it's great when you get a scholarship. That's awesome. When you can go to school for free, that's awesome. But I can remember playing with some guys who came from, not so good backgrounds, and they didn't have money for anything. They couldn't go get gas. They couldn't go to a theater. They couldn't go out to eat. They couldn't take a girl out on a date. Kids need something. But when you start giving a kid $1 million, or just like the kid in Florida that we're talking about, you start committing $13 million to him and saying his parents are going to get $1 million. That's overboard. And at some point it's going to blow up, but I keep telling people it's not blowing up just yet.
No.
And if you look at college football, it's up there with the NFL. It's one of the number one sports in the world. And you know how this country loves football. I think it's crazy. I don't like the transfer portal either, but when I was playing, there was kids that transferred. I understand that. Some situations, just like my son went through not too long ago, when you have no shot and, a coach comes in, it's like the NFL now coming to college. When a coach comes in, now he's going to bring his guys with him. He's going to bring his coaches with him, which that's always happened. But now you're bringing players with him, and sometimes situations where it doesn't matter what you do, you're not ever going to get on the graces of the coach.
Let's go to Nate on line 2. Nate, welcome.
What's up, guys? It's great to hear your voice back on mainstream radio, George.
It's fun to be here. Appreciate it.
So I have a real quick, short question for you about the Preds. I feel like you being here since the very beginning, you're pretty in tune with Barry Trotz. My main concern is, and this stems from what we've seen in Milwaukee for a little bit with Zach LaRue and Askarov, their big personalities. My concern is Barry Trotz having culture supersede talent. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I just want your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'll admit I don't necessarily buy it because I think Barry desperately wants to get this franchise past the 8th seed in the playoff, go out in the first round. I think he desperately wants to bring a Stanley Cup champion to this city. And guys, I think the whole thing revolves around this. I could be wrong, but I think this is a daily exercise that he goes through. Should I trade UC Saros? Can I get enough to move us a step forward past what we were going to be? And I think if he ever determines that the answer is yes, based on what some team will offer him, then I think he's going to trade Saros.
Man, you're the guy to talk about this, George. It's going to be an interesting offseason. I mean, we've talked about it, and Trotz has said that we want to re-sign Saros, but does that mean anything when he says that? I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I mean it can be the business sometimes where you may say that, but certain things happen, and then you got to change your track. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens.
Kelly, I think if he gets an offer he can't refuse, he'll make the move. I got total confidence in Barry Trotz.
Oh, I think the moves that he made towards the end of the season shows you that he knows what he's doing, and I think they've got that ace that's in Milwaukee that's a young guy that they think that they could probably lean on a little bit. So I think that's a huge cog in the wheel right there. I mean, if you do get something for Saros and you get something that you can't turn down, it's only going to help your club. And then you got a young guy waiting in the wings. You think he can do it, whether he can, we don't know, but you gotta go over that bridge when you get there. And I'm like you. I just think it's so encouraging to see where the Preds are right now.
Let's go to Ty over on the Belmont campus. Ty, how are you?
George, I've been on the phones for about 30 minutes on behalf of you with Comcast, trying to get this situation sorted out, and it hasn't gone well. What can I say?
What answers have they given you?
I've gotten a lot of answering machines, a lot of just people saying they're busy, and it's an urgent matter. George Plaster has to watch the Braves,
You're darn tootin' we do. And we've been held hostage now for, 3 weeks? And, I mean, this is inexcusable.
3 weeks too long.
Bored.
So my question is about Jane Rashada and him suing Billy Napier and the University of Florida. How do you guys think that's going to play out? Is there a situation where Rashada next season, he plays for Georgia and he plays against Florida, who has to pay him all this NIL money, and we get this weird kind of situation? How do y'all think that's going to play out?
It's an interesting question. Billy, how close have you followed it?
Well, it was funny. I saw on Twitter today that Kirby Smart gave Jaden Rashada his blessing to sue, and I don't know if I don't think it was a joke.
Why did he need his blessing?
Well, it was more of a Twitter joke, but
okay.
I mean, him being at Georgia, people forget about that. He's at Georgia now as their second or third string quarterback. But it'll be interesting. Knowing Kirby, I think he'll put him in at some point in that game against Florida. And, maybe it doesn't happen, but I think there will be some fireworks there, especially with that rivalry. Now, he's a good player, but still, you got to wonder why Kirby even looked into it.
Kelly, I don't know enough about it. I've read up a little bit today. I just don't know enough to give you any kind of legal opinion.
Yeah, I'm kind of like y'all, man. I'd like to have the facts, all the facts before I start talking about it. I do know this. I think this is just the beginning of it. I think you're going to see it more and more because you got all these antitrust laws. And when somebody promises something and they don't follow through with it, you're going to get kids suing like this. And Tony said it. And one of the call and Tony, the caller that we had a couple of minutes ago, but it's all going to fall back on the consumer at some point. I mean, prices are going to keep going up, going up. And now all this stuff is bleeding. It's going to start bleeding down in high school. I heard a girl here in Rutherford County that plays softball that was getting an NIL deal. So it's just amazing. I love sports. I do, guys. We all love sports. But like we've put such an onus on sports in our country that now it's getting just absurd with what's going on with the money, where you've got – I'm going to get on a stand right here and preach a little bit, but like you got police officers, you got teachers, you got medical people, nurses, not getting paid like they should. Now you're paying a high school girl, to play softball. And I don't know. It's crazy to me, George, how it's gotten. I don't think NCAA, we've talked about the NCAA ad nauseum, but I don't think they had a plan for this. I don't think they thought that Congress was going to, rule that way. I don't think they thought they had to worry about it. And then all of a sudden they had to worry about it. The cat was out of the bag. They had no plan for it, no organization whatsoever. And now you're seeing all the evilness that's going along with it.
Okay, we're going to go, Kelly, thank you on that. I am guessing that I've got a couple of lines open. If I do, I want you to jump in at 615-844-5600. We'll take one more batch of your phone calls. Then at the end of the hour, we'll get one last SEC baseball tournament report from Hoover Met. You're listening to the George Plaster Show, and you may be watching it as well on WNSR.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. 35 years.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Coach Mark Pope joining us. What's your vision for getting the Wildcats back to consistently competing for natties?
We're being incredibly active in the transfer portal. We're going to have mostly guys willing to come here and understand what it means to wear the Kentucky uniform. This is bigger than themselves. That's going to be a pathway for guys to hang banners, to have incredible careers in the NBA, and a pathway for guys to build a legacy as the greatest basketball program in the country.
Jim Rome is here weekdays 11 to 2 on Nashville Sports Radio, WNSR.
Here's something we used to do in radio, time checks. My little clock says 5:42 as we welcome all of you back. Let's head back to the phones, and I appreciate all of you today who have joined us. I thought we could do pretty close to a full hour, and that's been awesome to see. I really appreciate it. Stan in Old Hickory, welcome.
Hey, Plaz. Good to hear your voice there, buddy.
Stan, how are you?
Man, I am great, sir. I am doing great. I had a Alabama question I want to throw at you. So, what's your thoughts on Kalen DeBoer and Nick Saban, with him still hanging around the program? How do you think Kalen DeBoer is gonna handle that? You know, that's pretty big shoes to fill, and with Saban still hanging around the campus there, that's, you know, eventually the recruits that played for Saban will get out of school and it'll be Kalen DeBoer's team. But, you know, Saban's still pretty close to that program. What's your thoughts on that?
Stan, hold on with me. Don't go anywhere because I want to talk to you again in just a second. Kelly, to me, this is going to be one of the most difficult things that Kalen DeBoer may face, is that he might have to walk in one day to Saban and say, look, you resigned on your own. This is my team. Stay out of it.
See, you know, George, I've been around old coaches, Coach Donnelly, you know, my college quarterback coach, Coach Robbins. Those guys, usually old school ways, they understand. And they just get out of the way. And I can see Nick Saban being that way. It's his show now. He already had his turn. They've got him in office, but he's doing college game day. He's doing the draft, as we've already seen. He's got things going. I don't know how long he'll be there. I've talked to one of his really good friends. I don't know how long he'll be in the building. But if I'm Kalen DeBoer, I'm going to ask him questions. I'm going to use him as a reference for me. Just to know, like, who are the big hitters here? What do you do? What did you do with practice? I'm going to ask questions, but I really don't think that, just my opinion, I don't think Saban will be that way. I don't think he'll be in there telling them what to do because he understands the profession. He's turned over the reins to somebody else, and I think he'll give him full reign.
Okay, let me ask this question, though. Let's use Billy. Billy was a really good player under Nick Saban.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And let's say that Billy suddenly in the new regime isn't getting as much playing time. Billy goes and belly aches to Coach Saban. It's not so much that Saban is gonna undermine Kalen DeBoer, but there is he's still around. I'm going to see him to tell him I'm not happy.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a dynamic, George, that they'll have to work out. I don't know. I really don't. I just in my circumstances, I'm going to say what I said, man. Old coaches seem to know how hard the profession is, and I'm sure Nick Saban is not going to undermine Kalen DeBoer for sure, but I'm sure he's going to say, "Hey, I'm not your coach anymore." I mean, you know, they might want you doing something different than I did. So I don't know, but that's a certain dynamic that they're going to have to cross that bridge when they get there, and I don't know how to work.
Stan, I know you keep up with Alabama football huge. Do you hear anything like that there is a concern?
You know, I don't hear anything, George. You know, I think it's probably going to be a problem for a couple of years anyway, in my opinion. I think there needs to be some distance in there because it's definitely two different cultures at Alabama right now. And, I think there does need to be some distance and so forth on it.
By the way, beginning in about a week, you will hear Stan's voice more. Stan runs Apple Collision Centers. He's gotten on board to be a sponsor of this program, for which we are very appreciative.
Yeah.
And Kelly, even better, the guy's a Braves fan.
Oh, was that right?
Yes, sir.
Braves fan.
Go Braves.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
Don't hold that against him.
Oh, I'm not. Well, getting back to your question, though, I think the real problem lies is if they don't start off like they think they should. I mean, they've got certain expectations at Alabama, and if they start losing, then, yeah, I think that becomes a real big problem.
Stan, who do they open with?
They've got a cupcake to open with.
I think is it UTC? It would be UTC.
Yeah, that don't sound right, but it's a cupcake. It's not a ranked teamer by any means.
Yeah. Well, whatever the case, man, you talk about a spotlight that will burn bright.
Sure.
And God help Kalen DeBoer if he ever loses 2 in a row.
It's not going to be good.
Oh, they'll try to run him out. They'll get that same moving van that they tried to use on Bill Battle years ago.
Without a doubt they will. And they'll do it quick. Thanks, buddy. Good to talk to you. Take care, George.
Same here. Okay, so we learned today, Kelly, that there's still people out there. By the way, is it Western Kentucky
WKU.
they open with?
There you go.
That's
UTC
not quite
plays
the cupcake.
UT.
Yeah, that's not really the.
That's not UTC. Okay, so we learned today that there are people out there that want to talk, which I love. Tomorrow, give you a little bit of it. Well, I tell you what, we'll do that after the break. Let's take our final break. When we come back, we'll go back to Hoover Met down near Birmingham and get an update on the SEC baseball tournament, and in particular, the Vandy, Florida game that's going on right now. Then we'll tell you more about tomorrow's show. Day 2, close to the end, but not totally yet. You're listening to the George Plaster Show on WNSR. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family. And she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank and Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank and Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
With 13 locations nationally, including Smyrna, Star Leasing Company is a semi-trailer one-stop shop and the perfect place to build a career as a semi-trailer mechanic. Seeking candidates with all levels of experience, Star Leasing Company has a semi-trailer technician trainee program with sign-on and quarterly bonuses and other opportunities such as $1,000 for having a yearly physical. Package also includes 401k with company match, health, dental, and vision insurance, competitive pay with weekly paychecks and paid holidays and time off. Star Leasing Company, not your typical semi-trailer leasing company. It's starleasing.com to learn more.
Okay, a final segment in day 2 of our return to radio life. Let's go down to Hoover, Alabama, suburb of Birmingham. SEC baseball tournament began earlier this morning at a ridiculously early hour, 9:30, and yet they'll be playing tonight until, the cows come home. Billy Jones joins us from down there. Billy, kind of recap for people who may just be getting in their car or tuning us in, what all is going on today.
Yeah, sure. So coming into the week, I think the main storyline was on, the 5 teams who were on the quote unquote, the bubble. You had LSU, Alabama, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, and Florida. LSU took care of business earlier today. They got Gage Jump off 4.5 days rest, gave him 7 innings, 1 earned run. They took down Georgia earlier today, who was definitely a team that's been playing some great baseball. LSU looks about as hot as anybody. South Carolina was swinging the bat, slugging away, 4 home runs, a couple more extra base hits. They took down Alabama, who's really, really lagging here coming down the stretch. Vanderbilt right now trying to advance today from the single elimination round into the double elimination round, where they would take on Tennessee tomorrow. They're up 2-0 right now in the bottom of the 4th. But Pierce Coppola, who came out of the Florida bullpen, season high of 3 innings, but he's kind of cruising so far. Gave up 2 in the second, but he's hanging in there. And then Bryce Cunningham on the Vandy side has been really solid through 4.
So given that it's single elimination today, of Vandy to be sure that they're going to get in, they need to win today.
Right. It would be a long, long couple days till Sunday if they were to lose tonight. Right now, if you look at D1 Baseball or Baseball America, which are the 2 biggest bracketologists, and just talking to people, in the baseball media sphere, most people have them last 4 in or just a little bit safer inside that field, but definitely right there on the brink. As we mentioned earlier, some results have gone their way today. Georgia Tech losing, Louisville losing, Cincinnati's losing right now. One tonight to watch is going to be Washington and Cal. See if the Huskies can take down the Bears. That would help Vanderbilt out tremendously.
Who is the late game tonight in Hoover?
We got a little Egg Bowl action, George. Mississippi State and Ole Miss going at it.
Yeah, that'll be a good crowd out down there tonight. Absolutely.
So the Preppies versus the Rednecks.
Exactly, and boy, the Rednecks have looked good lately. I mean, State's been cruising here. That was a ball club. People were talking about Chris Lemonis maybe being on the hot seat just a couple of years after that title, but I think they've been about as good as anyone in the conference down the stretch of the year. So excited to see what they can do if they can turn some screws and make some noise this weekend.
So are they allowing the cowbells in there? I mean, let's get to the important issues of the day.
My understanding is no. I mean, I'm sure those guys are creative, though. I'm sure if there's a way to sneak some in, we might hear them.
What do they do? Send them to Sankey's office and they get put on probation?
Yeah, I mean, hard to imagine the enforcement down in Hoover is going to have too much to say about a little bit of extra noise there at the Met.
Okay, good first day of reports. We'll check back in with you tomorrow at 4:03.
Sounds great. I'm excited.
Billy Jones, University of Missouri student, doing his school proud. Good journalism school. He's going to be a good one. He's stuck with us.
Yeah, I was going to ask about Missouri, but I didn't want to.
No,
I didn't want to pile
don't
on.
rub it in. Don't rub it in. Kelly, tomorrow on the show, Mike Organ. We're going to have him on every Wednesday until football season, around 4:20. Get into some of the local stuff that Mike covers really strong. I've always wanted to do this with Mike, and looks like we've been able to work that out. And then at 5:05, give or take a couple of minutes, former Indiana and former Georgia basketball coach Tom Crean will join us. He was Anthony Edwards' college coach, and he'll be at Game 4 of that series between Minnesota. I almost said Denver. That's not good. Minnesota and Dallas.
Looking forward to that. I played with his brother-in-law way back when.
Yeah. You going to bring that up?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I played with Jimmy for 2 years. Jimmy Harbaugh.
Kelly, we got through phones, I think, pretty unscathed.
I like that, man. I really enjoy that. I like listening. I hope we can get some more people listening and calling in. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
We'll do it again tomorrow. Until then, all of you behave. Billy, in particular, you need to behave.
Well, I think I did today. How did I do on the phones there, Kelly?
You did well, Billy. I mean, you've got game, man. We know that. I'm just going to give you a hard time. I appreciate your buddy calling in.
We're about out of time. I want to thank Comcast once again for holding me hostage. I believe this is day number 21, and I'll be honest, I'm damn sick and tired of this. Get my baseball team on. Until then,
Vandy leads 3-0 now.
Okay, until then, all of you can listen to Atlanta Braves pregame, 6:25 at Wrigley Field. We are done. See ya.
See ya.